Hello and welcome to this Java tutorial. Today we're going to be talking about inheritance and what that means in Java. But first, I have to ask you a question. What do you think inheritance means? No, it's not the money that you get when one family member dies, but what inheritance in Java simply means is that one or more classes are derived from a superclass. That just means that they can borrow any number of methods and variables that can only be accessed through the derived class and can't be modified by classes that are not derived from this. Now, that may sound really complicated, but it's actually a lot simpler than what it really is. Now, instead of me rambling on and on without really ever getting to a real point, I'm going to really show you some examples that'll make it easier for you to understand what exactly I'm talking about. Now, for my first example, I will show you an inheritance chart of animals, since this is easy to explain. Animal is the superclass, and dog, cat, and fish are all being derived from the class animal, meaning that they can borrow methods and variables that they need from the superclass animal. But now you're probably thinking, how do I know when one class is derived from another class? Well, that's actually simple. In code, when you're writing out the class, you can simply put public class, like in the example, public class dog extends animal. That just means that you know what class it's deriving from, and you know which class. Now, on the other side, you don't actually have to put anything that says animal extends or has the superclass of dog, cat, or fish. You just have to make sure that you put dog, cat, and fish extends the superclass animal. By now you're probably thinking though, how can dog, cat, and fish all extend the same animal class, seeing how they're all different and they probably wouldn't need the same methods? Well, that's actually not true. All dog, cat, and fish all share some of the same qualities and traits. For example, every one of them can easily have dog move, the cat is alive, and the fish can eat. All three of these can have these traits. You can check, while they all have different ways of moving, they all require a move method, as well as you can check if they're all alive, or they all may have different ways to eat, but they can all eat and they all need the same method for it. But they can just define it inside their own class to be different than each other's. And that's the nice part of inheritance, is that you don't have to keep rewriting the same methods over and over again. You can simply just define them in the classes you just derived from the superclass. Now, this won't work with all methods, but it's very nice that you can actually do this with some of the methods, and it makes your job a lot easier. Now, inheriting isn't limited to just animals. You can also, in another example, inheritance can be from an employee at a hospital. Now, every person who works at the hospital would take directly from the employee class, but then you can have specialty classes, for example, nurse, chief of staff, a doctor, surgeon, and even the janitor can all take methods and parameters from the superclass that you've created. They can take a name, an ID, and an occupation. Now, name and ID will have to be created and changed as you enter in an object of a certain class, but the occupation can show exactly who they are, what their job is, and what they're supposed to be doing at any one point. Now, I know you're probably getting tired of me just saying examples that are, let's say, organic, but there can be other examples as well. What about non-living ones? Well, a non-living one we can do, let's say, cars. It's easy. Now, every type of car inherits the same things, like wheel, body, windows, driving wheel, and engines, and fuel. Every car will take these parameters, and every car needs these parameters, but there's a difference. You can have, let's say, like an emergency vehicle, like a cop car, or you can even have a civilian vehicle, like, let's say, a Ferrari. They all need the same methods and variables that can be used for cars to define them, who they are. But you can also have other methods and calls that can help you better define the methods that you borrowed from the superclass car. Now, I'm hoping you're starting to get the pattern with inheritance, that the classes that derive from the superclass borrow methods and variables that can be defined in the derived class. And this makes coding a big program or a big project easier and less time consuming, because you don't have to rewrite the same methods and variables over and over again for each class that you're trying to make. Now, I hope you've enjoyed watching this video, and I hope you check out the other videos that are going to be on this channel for other tutorials done by my classmates. I hear syntax is actually a pretty helpful lesson for beginners, and I would like to thank you very much for watching.